This is the new 2020 Mercedes-Benz GLC, and it's the compact SUV from Mercedes-Benz. Now, it's not the subcompact Mercedes SUV, that would be the GLA, and it's not the mid-size Mercedes SUV because that's the GLE. This one is right in between, and Mercedes sells these things in massive numbers. Now, the GLC has just been updated for 2020, and today I'm going to show you around the new one. I've borrowed the GLC from Fletcher Jones Motor Cars, which is the gold standard of Mercedes-Benz dealerships here in Newport Beach in Orange County. Fletcher Jones, of course, has all the latest Mercedes-Benz models, and that includes the new GLC, which has just started to arrive in dealerships. Now, the GLC hasn't been completely redesigned for the 2020 model year, but rather just updated, although the updates are pretty thorough. You have new styling, a new infotainment system, and a new engine. And those changes make for a much improved GLC compared to the outgoing model. And today, I'm going to show you all of it. First, I'm going to take you on a little tour of the GLC, and I'm going to show you a few interesting quirks and features and some new things for 2020. Then, I'm going to get it out on the road and drive it, and then I'm going to give it a Doug score. Now, I'm going to start this tour inside the new GLC, where the biggest changes come right here, and specifically to the infotainment system. The latest GLC upgrades to Mercedes' new MBUX infotainment system, which is truly fantastic. Now, I've already reviewed this system in the new Mercedes A-Class and the Mercedes CLA, and I will link those reviews in the description so you can get a little bit more in-depth. But to summarize what I really like about it, one thing is just how controllable it is in multiple ways. You can use it as a touchscreen if you want, if that's what you're most comfortable doing, just move around the screen with your finger, or you can use this little pad in the center console, and again, you can control the system that way, or you can use these controls on the steering wheel over on the right, and you can move around the system that way, and you can also speak to it. And so there are several different ways to connect with the new infotainment system depending on your preference, which is a huge upgrade over some automakers that have a mandatory touchscreen or a mandatory center pad, and you don't get a pick. It's a really, really good way to do it. And that isn't the only reason I love MBUX. It's really simple, really intuitive. The navigation system works fantastically, as I've described in those reviews of the A-Class and the CLA linked below, and it's also very, very responsive. If you use it as a touchscreen, it responds instantly to your finger, basically as quickly as a smartphone. Very, very fantastic infotainment system. In my opinion, probably the best in the car industry, including Tesla, BMW, Volvo, all the other ones. This stands above. One other reason I really like the tech in this car is the gauge cluster screen. Now, the previous GLC had fixed gauges. The new one ditches that, and now it has this giant screen right behind the steering wheel. And this is also tremendously configurable. You can move between various different items displayed on this screen depending on what you want to see. You don't have to stick to basically any defaults, and you can kind of customize and configure this. Again, a fantastic system, far, far better than fixed gauges, and better and more configurable than what you get in BMW, Lexus, most rivals of this car, frankly. And another big benefit of the new GLC, clearly visible in front, would be the new steering wheel. The outgoing GLC had kind of an old, ugly steering wheel used for years in Mercedes-Benz models. Because this one upgrades to MBUX, it has to have the controls for that system, and that means new steering wheel with this new aluminum finish, and it looks fantastic. Another big upgrade over the previous GLC. Now, one other thing I like in the interior of this particular GLC is this wood trim. Absolutely gorgeous look. You can see it in the center console going up the center control stack. Very nice kind of matte wood. And then on the door panels, same deal. Very, very nice, really upscale wood trim. And that wood finish kind of complements the new, better looking steering wheel, gauge cluster, infotainment screen, and just makes this interior seem like a nicer place to be. And next up, we move outside the new GLC, where there are two important changes to note, both relating to the GLC's styling. I'm going to start in front. The GLC adopts sort of a more modern Mercedes-Benz look in front. And the biggest way you can tell is the headlights are changed. They have sort of the new Mercedes-Benz LED light pattern, and the front end is revised a little compared to the old one. Now, the rear end is revised a little bit more, and you can more easily tell you're looking at the new GLC if you see it from behind. You can see these four kind of circular oval tail lights that light up when the headlights go on. It's a big difference from the old GLC, and it's borrowed from the new GLE and GLS SUVs. It kind of brings the new GLC into the line of styling with the other Mercedes-Benz family of SUVs. And finally, the last important change to the new 2020 GLC comes under the hood, where the new model ditches the old 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with 273 pound-feet of torque in favor of a new 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with 273 pound-feet of torque. Now, with that said, there are a couple changes, and the biggest is horsepower. It went up from like 240 horsepower to about 255. I'm not even really sure if you'll be able to tell, but there's now also a mild hybrid system in here, which is supposed to increase fuel economy just barely. The EPA says 1 mile per gallon better on the highway. Also probably won't be able to tell, but a little better fuel economy and a little more power is always a welcome update for a facelift like this, since some cars hold off on changes like that until they get a full redesign every 6 or 7 years. All right, driving the new GLC. Now, I've spent quite a bit of time in the old GLC in various different capacities. And I always kind of felt that it was fine, but I did think that the interior and the tech was in need of an upgrade, especially in the last couple of years. GLC, I think, came out in 2016, but it got old fast because this segment has so many players and it just moves very quickly. It seems like every 3 months, a new car comes out in this segment and kind of moves the game forward a little bit more. And so by adding MBUX, Mercedes is finally in the realm of competition with the new GLC. Certainly the tech in this car is as good or better as any rival. And generally speaking, I think that the new GLC addresses most of the problems with the old model simply by upgrading the tech. The new powertrain does improve a little bit in terms of responsiveness. Only 15 more horsepower. I don't think you can generally feel that in a vehicle this size, but that mild hybrid addition to it kind of eliminates some of that low-end turbo lag, it seems like. And so you have a better responsiveness the moment you press the accelerator. And so at low speeds around town when you're accelerating, I think you do feel that, and that is an upgrade, even if you won't actually see any real world fuel economy returns or any other real benefits from the engine. Just that low end power being better is a good thing. Ultimately, I would say, no complaints here. They've improved the GLC in areas where it significantly needed improvement, which was the infotainment and the steering wheel and the gauge cluster. Those things are all better, and they've brought this back into serious contention in this segment. This is a fast-moving segment. Land Rover, Lexus, Audi, everybody is coming out with new stuff all the time, and I think Mercedes-Benz is back near the top thanks to this new model. And so that's the 2020 Mercedes-Benz GLC. With rivals coming in from all sides, BMW, Lexus, Acura, Audi, many others, this segment, the compact luxury SUV, is one of the most competitive in the entire car industry. And so it's important that Mercedes-Benz keeps the GLC updated in order to stay competitive. And with the changes they made for 2020, that's exactly what they've done. And now it's time to give the GLC a Doug score.
And the Doug score is here against some other smaller luxury SUVs I've tested, although not all of these directly compete with the GLC. The GLC 300 is in the middle of the pack, but it's important to note the GLC is tied for the highest daily score. The GLC is no fun weekend car. It's not fast, it's not exciting, it's not head-turning, but it's a nice place to spend time, it's practical, and it's filled with good tech. And if that's what you want, and most people buying a car in this segment do, then this is a great option.